Morning all, how are we doing? Morning Alex, morning Andrew, morning David, Adrian, Bellino, Virginia, how are we doing? Another sunny Wednesday. Nothing particularly exciting today for news. We've had the CPI this morning for the Aussie dollar. That's about it. So rubbish today. Morning Joaquin. So so basically it's a no news day today. After what we've had this morning, we've got durable goods this afternoon at 1:30, which doesn't do much. And we've had the CPI for the Australian dollar, which has brought the Aussie down a little bit, but nothing particularly exciting overnight either with the rest of the news. OADA's basically had a chat about inflation. It's potentially reaching its climax, but that's about it. So no news. Afternoon, morning even, Diamond. Afternoon even. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Just going to have a quick look through all the pairs again this morning. We've got extended, as usual. Morning, John. And have a look at where everything is. There's a few squeezes going on at the minute. Yesterday, managed to bank 0.14% on the H1 strategy. Nothing particularly exciting. Slight bit of drawdown control done this morning across all pairs. The CAD Swiss. I got stopped out of a CAD Swiss trade. Where are we? See it on M15. So this was basically the spread. So that was the position, the aggressive drawdown control position I put on yesterday. That pushed up nicely, came back down, pushed up again, and then they spread me out. That's what happens when you use stop losses. That's why I don't use stop losses. When you use a stop loss, you get stopped out. So I got stopped out on that one, unfortunately. Not a massive loss, but a little bit. So looking to get that. Well, I actually just got it back on this morning. Look, there you go. So just taking that aggressive drawdown control position again this morning. So if we look at this CAD Swiss just quickly before the market opens, we've had this big, strong drop, as we know. And yesterday was the first day. Look at the volatility yesterday, yeah? So look at the normal price action we've got going down here. Yeah. And then look at the volatility yesterday. We had a big, strong push down, a big, strong push up, big, strong push down. So the volatility increased dramatically yesterday. This is basically the market changing positioning. Doesn't mean they're going to go that way. It means that they are stopping that 2%. So I'm looking to get an aggressive position on that one as well. Pound CAD. That's got, it's only got 4 positions on, but those 4 positions have been very, very squeezy. So we push very, very hard. Same thing. Been scaling out on the way, but basically looking to try and get a more aggressive position on that one to get out of that one as well. We go for yesterday's low as a target on that. Apart from that, everything else is just ticking along. Danny, morning. Dreska, Impulse, Baggy, Stevie, welcome aboard. So we've got, I've got a weird candle on the DAX this morning. I'm not quite sure exactly where that's come from. Let me just reset. Okay, that. Yeah, got weird candle. It sort of opened up there, painted, and then it collapsed back down to there. I've never seen that before. I think that's a glitch. I don't know what that is, but I should imagine if anybody's got any positions on the DAX, they might be phoning Forex today and going, what? Because if they got stopped out on that, obviously you got TP'd on it, you wouldn't be worrying. But if you got stopped out on that, you'd be a little bit miffed this morning, wouldn't you? So gap fill basically is done this morning. So no real directional bias for a gap fill this morning in either direction. DAX, as you can see, we're basically in the same spot. Yeah, see, like there's that big 15-minute weird candle. That was very weird. So we're still in this weekly range. So there's your last week's low. There is your last week's high. Still within that weekly range at the minute. going absolutely nowhere. So we are basically day 3 coming into day 4, going nowhere basically. So Impulse, am I the only one having stream dropouts? Figinia, latency problem here too. Oh, it's Alexis again. Hello, Alexis. She's from Smart Prop Trader. She looks just like somebody that owns a prop firm, doesn't she? Doesn't seem to be an issue with latency. I can't see any issues. Again, it's not my end. If there's issues, it's not from the stream. It's not from me. I am 0 dropped frames. Not my end anyway. So I don't know what that is. If you're experiencing it, some people seem to be experiencing it, some others. I would say it's probably country related then. Morning, Henricus. Morning, Kennelly. Are you talking about video or audio or what? What's dropping out? Stream is really bad today, very choppy. I've reduced quality and it seems to help. Yeah, maybe it's that. Don't know. There's nothing wrong on my end at all. As I say, I am streaming at super fast. Stream quality is good. 0 dropped frames. Yeah, nothing on my end. Stopping and buffering. No. I don't know. Right, market's open. So there's your pre-market 15. You have gone short if you went on that. So let's have a quick look at the earnings today. What have we got today? So Wednesday, we have pre-market. We've got ADP, Boeing, CME, and we've got aftermarket. We've got Facebook and Roku, the big ones. Microsoft and Google were yesterday. Let's have a quick look at what happened with them. Microsoft reports earnings beat. Excellent. Microsoft is up. Google is up. Okay, so yeah, both up. That's good. So bullish for those two. So we should see some increases in the NASDAQ. Markets might well be a little bullish. Yeah, so there you go. So this, do you remember yesterday I was saying these reports when we get them through? That's the 11 o'clock candle. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so when we get these aftermarket earnings reports, as I said yesterday in the stream, quite often, oh, sorry, no, that's not yesterday, is it? Yeah, no, it is. Why is that drawn in the wrong place? There you go. So yeah, so as I said yesterday, in the what you tend to find is with these aftermarket earnings reports, they actually creep them out just before market close, giving the market opportunity to position itself. So you can see we've got big rally. That was a huge move. So we went 135 pips. That's over half an ADR in one 15-minute candle there, just before the market closed. So they knew what was coming there. Got a tiny little gap there, but I would expect today we should get some NASDAQ positive movement. It may come down in time and do that propulsion first and test that area, but we should be looking longs on NASDAQ today, I think. We'll see what the DAX does. DAX looks like it wants to go long as well. It's rejecting these lows again. So we'll see where that ends up. Wait for the 5-minute candle to come in. I'm not buffering, Stevie. It's not me. Are you saying it's the audio? Okay, let me turn off the filters. Right, there we go. That's probably going to be really loud now. Turn that down. That's probably going to be horribly echoey and stuff, but I've turned off the audio filters, so we'll try that. I've got audio filters on. That might be what's causing it. But it's certainly not the stream. But audio could be, couldn't it? Seems to have cleared now. Right, now I've turned the audio filters off anyway. But anyway, we'll see. See what happens. Right. So ORB on the DAX is long. There's your 5-minute opening range. That's broken long. Propulsion gap targets to the upside. See what happens to that. Right. So ADRs today. We've got Euro Swiss. So Euro Swiss basically is a hit to the upside. So straight to that propulsion up there. This is a bit of a weird candle arrangement on the 15-minute here. So this Swiss franc had a big overnight move, basically. So the video was buffering a lot. Yeah, don't know. I don't know what that is. Well, I can turn the audio. Let me turn the audio back on then. Oh, there we go. Is that better? It's a bit less. It's a bit more bassy, but it's a bit clearer, the voice, with the audio filters on. So it's better to keep them on if I can. Right. So Euro Swiss ADR hit to the upside, only just, but that's a big, strong push. We've had Euro Swiss again. So that's just taken it above RSI on the 15-minute. So difficult to tell what direction to trade this one in at the moment. It's slightly short at the minute. There's good propulsion gap targets to the upside, especially that one. That's really nice. That's been tested multiple times as well. So I'd expect that to come for a retest. So yeah, looks good. Euro Swiss for potentially a continuation of that long move. I've got buys on it at the moment, but obviously it's hit ADR very, 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 very quickly. So we'll see. That may well just be a profit take on this downward move. So we'll see what happens with that one. All seems fine now. Yeah, cool. So Euro odd, that has just hit ADR as well. Got sells on this one at the moment. That's on the Australian dollar drop, isn't it? So Euro odd is your second ADR to the upside. M5 drop down, 15-minute reversal. 5-minute reversal entry. Lots of short side targets there to go for as well. So that's all your ADRs. Weeklies, there aren't any. We're on Wednesday. If we start getting weekly ranges hit today, then they're probably good ones to start looking at shorts or longs on. But apart from that, there's nothing else to look at. We've looked at all the monthlies. Those have all kind of started to play out, Aussie, New Zealand especially. So that one was a beautiful monthly hit. Straight up, monthly, 125 and back down again. You see, I got out of that one yesterday. So there's your ADRs. RSIs, there's quite a few of those to look at. Just quickly have a quick look at the DAX. The DAX is up to, see, 5-minute opening range break to the upside at the moment is on. See if we can get that filled. Other than that, that could go either way today. It's your internet connection or Wi-Fi connection. What other people's? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. No, it doesn't. Everybody seems to be experiencing it. So I think it's a YouTube thing. It happened the other day as well. It certainly isn't my internet connection. I can guarantee you that. There's nothing wrong with my internet. Watch this. Hyperoptic Limited. That's a good name. That's my speed. So it ain't me. DAX 15 5-minute opening range long. It's just broken back inside. So we'll see where that goes. I am running the DAX this morning on the 5-minute opening range. So I am long. George, what's your main strategy or method on your real account? H1M5. My stream wasn't flagged on my subs page. I reckon they got problems at YouTube today then. I reckon they're having issues. Yeah, H1M5 is my main strategy at the moment. Normally I trade H4M5 stroke M15, but I'm mainly focusing on H1 at the moment, which is why I've got this account open on here, because the market has been a lot more contracted. So we haven't had that many H4 setups over the last couple of months because the market's been really, really tight. So that is starting. It looks like that's starting to work a little bit more now, the H4. So the 4-hour RSI extensions have been a lot less frequent, hence me trading the hourlies. But I will probably go back to H4 now that we're starting to get a little bit more aggression coming through on this. So I just realized mucking about with that indicator, I've just broken it. Whoops. What was the settings on that? Hang on. I think that was 322. Yeah. Yeah, so basically I will be switching back to the 4-hour, I think, probably next month. Depending, I need to get flat on some of these hourlies as well, but it's getting more volatile now. The market's waking up a little bit just as we go into summer trading, probably. But yeah, it's been very quiet, as we can see by the ADRs. You know, these ADRs have been very, very tight and very contracted. They still are to a certain extent, but obviously we're looking at the last 10 days worth of movement here. So some of these are opening up and shaking up and getting a lot more volatile now. So I think we're going to start getting back to a little bit more normality. As soon as those interest rates peak and they start to drop, the market will wake up because there'll be more certainty as to what is happening. So once you get to the interest rate terminal rates and that inflation figure starts to come down, there is only one way for interest rates to go down. So at the moment, we have uncertainty as to whether we're going to freeze rates or whether we're going to increase rates or whether we're going to decrease rates. When we get that certainty that we've hit terminal rate, inflation's coming down, and the market can do nothing but reduce rates, everything will start to get more volatile because there'll be a lot more. You know, we know what's going to happen with everything. Obviously, with all these wars kicking off, now we've got more wars kicking off everywhere else. That adds another level of uncertainty. There's always uncertainty of some shape or form. At the moment, we've seen the last 3 years, we've had an awful lot more uncertainty, haven't we? We've had the COVID fallout. We've had the stock market going absolutely crazy through the roof, although everybody's been losing money in their businesses. So that's completely wrong, which is why we've got now a bear market. We've got war kicked off in Ukraine. We've got the latest war that's just kicked off. You know, it's a crazy, crazy time at the moment. And we've got inflation going through the roof to levels we haven't seen for decades. So the market is jittery and everything has been very tight, especially this last quarter, stroke 6 months, because we're hitting these terminal rates. But that is all going to start to come down. ECB talking heads might be saying something. Most spreads on the DAX are jumping around. Don't think so. We got Vujic speaking at 8 o'clock. And Enria speaking. But there's nothing coming through the feed. So stopped out on the DAX. So rejected the highs. Whippy open again today. That looks like it's going to break short. So let's have a quick look at the DAX potential shorts targets today. Great. Straight into a whacking great propulsion gap. So target to the downside, obviously yesterday's low, which is what we are approaching now. And after that, once this propulsion gap is done, ADR today basically is the basic target. That's last week's low. So ADR and just beyond ADR, somewhere between ADR and 125 ADR are your kind of main downside targets down there. But we are selling straight into a potential propulsion gap, which may well rally. So tricky one for shorts this morning. Let's see what happens with that one. ADRs, we just had another one come through. Euro Swiss. No, sorry, pound odd. Get the right one. Pound odd, ADR. This Australian dollar today. Obviously, we've had the Australian CPI figures. So the CPI figures came out on the Aussie as a quarter by quarter, which is the most important figure, was bullish. The year on year has come out as a negative. So it's overall a little bit mixed, really. It's more negative than positive, which is obviously good for everybody, because inflation coming down means everything starts to get cheaper, and obviously cost of living is increased. Cost of living is decreased, which makes you more comfortable. However, for a currency, it takes the pressure off of the interest rates, as we know. So that will be a more potential drop in the Aussie dollar. So the Aussies basically froze their rates last time. So this is indicative now of inflation coming down, that they may well continue to do the same, which will be bearish Australian dollar. So everything's rallying against the Aussie today. Aussie, as you can see, is coming down. So how far and hard that drops, we will have to wait and see. But at the moment, a little bit of a bearish movement, not huge. We've got some ADRs basically on the Aussie and the euro and the pound. So nothing particularly exciting, but it is potentially a down day for the Aussie dollar today. So your 15-minute range is in. I am now short on the 5-minute ORB. Looking like a choppy one today. But we'll see where we go. Right, let's look at these RSIs. So, Aussie dollar CAD. 4-hour RSI, sorry, 1-hour RSI extended to the downside. We've got a nice support potentially coming up down here, although that's the weekly. So propulsion gap targets to the downside and to the upside. We've got that one up there as well, which was tested. But that's where I'd expect it to go to ADR today. So somewhere down there and then bounce back up. So that is nicely extended. So you can start looking to get into initial positions on that if you get a reversal alert. Ideally, though, would be much nicer if we can get back down to ADR and get that bounce off of the weekly low and then have a look at potentially pushing back up from there. So that's just extended on the hourly. Aussie dollar Swiss Still extended on the hourly, just about. But 4 hourly, as we know, this one's coming down like an absolute steam train. So scaled out of a few bits and pieces on this one. There's only 3 positions on it. It's not massively deep at the moment, but had to scale out on the way down. So it's getting a little bit squeezed. And obviously with the news this morning, there is potential for this to come back down further. So wouldn't be surprised to see ADRs on all of these Aussie dollars today. So very nicely extended and embedded, as you can see from where we got our initial extension down there. It's just been totally embedded. There's no divergence really here either. So this is just collapsing. This Swiss franc at the moment is on an absolute mission as well. So that isn't helping the cause with such a strong Swiss franc. So we need a bit of respite on this one. We are massively extended away from the 24 as well. So there's a good chance that we're going to get that kind of move. But this move's got to finish first. So we're still waiting for some signs of the bulls to come back in again and put that profit take move back in. So it's just a case of waiting on it as usual, but nicely extended. So we're looking down at these levels again. So that's the sort of move I'd be expecting back to the 24. But at the moment, bad news for the Aussie. So potentially that one could come down a little bit further. We are seeing some nice rejection wicks at the moment though. So 3 hours on the trot, we've rejected this low. That's after obviously negative news on the Aussie. So it's not particularly bad. Morning, Steve. So well, let's see what happens. That's filled that propulsion gap there on the hourly. We've got all of these targets to the upside. It's going to be quite difficult for this Aussie to get back up there with any speed because we've had negative news there and we've got such a strong Swiss franc. So if it does come back up there, and it will come up there at some point, it's going to be a gradual climb over weeks rather than just, flying through multiple ADRs to the upside. However, this Swiss franc will have a breather. And when it has a breather, it's likely they will scale out of a lot of that Swiss franc movement they've put in. So it could well have a couple of ADRs to the upside. So we'll see what happens with it, but very nicely extended at the moment on the 4 hour, as you can see, nicely extended and embedded. That's extended on the hourly as well. Aussie dollar yen also extended. Just check the DAX. Just noticed out the corner of my eye. We're just retesting yesterday's low. Blown through it. Brilliant. Okay, so we're off to the downside on the DAX. Aussie dollar yen I'm on. So that fill obviously would be the first target. Oh, that's coming down very nice and fast. And then potentially that low. So yeah, ADR to ADR 125 if we're going to get a sell-off today would be very nice. We'll see what happens. But that's looking good at the minute. I've just updated the a couple of updates to the support resistance indicator, which I'll push out a little bit later, potentially. I've just put the text sells here because a couple of people mentioned that when you've got a hedge on, what you see is kind of like plus 34 pips or whatever there. But it doesn't tell you which one it is. So I've put the word sells there. And another change, I've put an input to change the color of this as well. So where you've got the 0 pips, so you can change the color of that now as well, because that was white and some people were using black layouts, so change that. So you've now got the text buys and sells there, so you know which one's which. And what else have I changed? Oh yeah, I've put another filter in. So again, somebody was saying that with high resolution monitors, this crashes. So the spacing is this one here, extra spacing for the chart note. That is for normal monitors is around about 15, but if you've got a high res one, you might want to have more spacing on it. So it just puts that further down. So you can now adjust the spacing there. Just so you know, I will be updating this as we go, but Yeah, so there you go. Aussie dollar yen. Where we got to. Williki. Morning. I'm basically trying to avoid all news-related pairs today. How do you see Swiss yen? News-related pairs? There isn't any news today. Got a core durable on the US dollar, but I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Nice breakout to the downside. So if you're on the 5-minute or the 15, you've got a nice downside break there on the ORB. Swiss yen, I'll get to in a minute. No, I won't. It's not on the list. I'll just get through to it and I'll do it for you in between the CAD and the Euro. Aussie dollar yen. So so that's pushing up ever so slightly at the moment. Propulsion gap targets to the upside are plentiful. This one is the main one. So this accumulation break there, where we broke that low, that's the main target that I would look to aim for eventually. Then we got another nice accumulation break there. So these two together are a lovely target. And then we've got the one from yesterday, from this morning, rather, when we got the news. So loads of targets to the upside on this. These yens basically are starting a nice retracement across the board. So that one is extended Aussie dollar yen on the 4-hour. The hourly, we had the extension, but the 4-hour is still embedded below the 25 level. So got a couple of positions on that one. Easy exit. I see this coming probably back up to last week's low at some point and retesting that area. But we'll see. It's going to need some weakness on this yen, isn't it? Aussie New Zealand, very extended to the downside. Got out of all the shorts on it yesterday. I had a buy on as well, which got put in there, which was off of the hourly RSI extension. There was a buy yesterday on that hourly RSI extension. So be looking to get a second position on this one this morning, pushing back up into propulsion up there. Well, anywhere up there, really. So yeah, this one, obviously I had a hedge on, so you can take it in either direction, really, the Aussie New Zealand. Very, very nice and orderly. Goes up and down an awful lot, this one. So we have still got upside targets to aim for all the way back up there, and these little old orphaned ones up there as well. We've put in loads of propulsion targets to the upside. We've still got these downside targets to do. So, you know, it's one of those where you just have to stay in it and wait, basically. So flipped long on it. Aussie New Zealand on the 1-hour RSI extension. At the moment, it's extended on the hourly just about, but the 4-hourly nicely extended below the 25. So looking for a profit take move to kick in on that one. Aussie dollar, US dollar is also extended on the 4-hour. So again, got first buyers on this one yesterday at last week's low. We're coming down now into previous, what's that line? Why have I drawn that line on there? Not quite sure why I drew that line on there, but it seems to have reacted off of it very nicely this morning. What's that? Don't know. That's a weird coincidence, isn't it? I've got a line on the chart, and and obviously I haven't drawn this morning, and it just happens to have bounced, double bottomed off of it. So obviously a psychic line. Get rid of that one. So yeah, bouncing quite nicely at the moment. Unless I did draw that this morning. Don't know if I'm coming or going this morning. What's it doing on the US dollar? Very nice extended hourly, very nicely extended 4-hourly. So again, hugely range bound pair at the moment. We haven't really got any strength or weakness on this US dollar. It's being just pushed around at the moment. So yeah, Aussie dollar, US dollar. To do these two CAD ones quickly. So CAD Swiss, got longs on this one. So this is the one I've just taken the aggressive position on again. I've got to stop down here if it breaks these lows. Just put an aggressive on basically to try and get out of this with as much profit as possible, basically, just to try and pay back some of the losses that it's scaled out of. It is only in 4 positions. Normally, I wouldn't look at doing drawdown control on 4 positions, but when you're looking to do drawdown control, you have to look at how deep something is getting, basically. So this one is in 2.5% of drawdown. That's why it's being acted. So it's more a case of doing it based on the drawdown, not the number of trades, because you could have something that's in 6 or 7 trades but is only in 2% of drawdown, which isn't the end of the world. But you could have something in 4 trades that has basically collapsed at a rate of knots like this has, and being more drawdown on it. So you need to look at the percentage drawdown, which is the most important thing, because that's the uncomfortable level. It doesn't matter how many positions you've got on, does it? It's how much drawdown you're experiencing on the individual instrument. So yeah, CAD Swiss very nicely extended at the moment. On the 4 hour, we got below the 20 level. So we've paused, we're contracting, and we're looking for a break of that low, basically, to push back up. Break of that high, basically, to push back up. There's lots of targets to the upside on this to come back to at some point. It's difficult to tell where we're going to get back to, but the obvious spot is going to be the previous support, which will turn into resistance. So these propulsion gaps here would be the prime target. This up here could get orphaned for a while. It's going to take some strength on this Canadian dollar. We've got a very weak CAD off the back of oil. We've got a massively strong Swiss at the same time, which has caused the perfect storm. Nothing you can do about it. Oil prices just collapsed. Swiss franc had a load of money coming running into it at the same time. So we'll see where this goes. Yeah, looking for long push on that one. Very nice extension on the hourly yesterday, but we didn't really get much of a pop. So the 4 hour, we're looking for, this is what we're looking for, the profit take move. Yeah, which hopefully will start to trigger today stroke tomorrow. CAD yen, that's nicely extended. So got out of this one short. Yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. So got out of all the shorts yesterday. Have longs on this as well. So this was hedged as well. Hourly extension has already come out now. 4 hour extension is still in there. So looking for basically push back up into there. All these yens have been very, 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 very strong yesterday. Obviously, we saw the yen absolutely collapse. We had 200% ADRs yesterday. Pound yen hit 200. So all these yens absolutely huge. The Swiss yen, somebody wanted to look at. Lovely rejection wicks on that to the downside after the big move. So we're looking for a pullback. At the moment, we seem to have a little bit more yen strength coming through in the last hour. So, but yeah, one of two things is going to happen on this. This yen movement that we've had is either going to be sustained and last for days, in which case then we'll get flag breaks. So you'll be looking to break short, or they're going to go into a nice market structure with it and use support resistance bounces to put that trend in. Or this is, and you never know which it is, which is why I say all the time, this is just a profit take move before the next leg up. One or the other, isn't it? We don't know. No one knows. So those are your options. These propulsion gaps are obvious targets. So that's what I would be looking to trade back up into with these yens. Scaled out of some of the yens this morning on the longs, but yeah, looks pretty good. Pound US dollar, Prab. Quick look at that one. That's not on the list today because we are not extended anywhere. Flying to the upside, look. That's a weak US dollar, I presume. What is that strong pound this morning? Strong pound. Again, where's all this pound strength coming from? Swedish krona. Not sure where all this pound strength is coming from. I mean, obviously, we've had the last week, we had the pound PMIs, which came out, again, mixed. Services PMIs were good across the board. I wasn't here on Friday. But all the manufacturing was down. The CPI went up, which obviously means that we need to put our interest rates up again. So I guess the market is factoring in a higher interest rate rise for the pound, which, yeah, is understandable. We were expecting to get up to sort of 4.5 to 5 on the pound. So no reason why that shouldn't come to fruition, is there? So I guess that's why the pound is strengthening up so much. So the pound yen got a long on that at the moment, looking for it to come back up into propulsion. There's two areas there. But pound US dollar was the one we asked for, wasn't it? So that is pushing up hard into propulsion at the moment. Again, US dollar a little bit weak. We've got this strong pound, so there's no reason why this shouldn't push. It's not extended on the 4-hour or the hourly at the moment, so we're just kind of sideways. So difficult to really get into at all at the moment. So there's last week's low. You've got previous week's highs up there. It's going up there, or it's going to come back down and retest that level. Right now, you're bang in the middle of the two. So getting more towards an extension, we'll probably do a pullback from. So if we got an ADR hit today, I'd probably think that's a good short. Other than that, that one's a tricky one today. Right, euros. Morning, Brian. Morning, Astro. DAX has stalled at the lows. So remind me where I've got to euros. So DAX, basically, we've done the propulsion gap and we've rejected down there. So that was the first target, was the propulsion gap fill. Second target is going to be 100 to 125 ADR support. Or we're going to come back up into there. So if this rejection holds, we'll be pushing back up into that area there, potentially for then a new leg down. But we'll see if this support holds. Hopefully it will just collapse because I've got shorts on. I've got jeans on today, but I've also got shorts on. Aha. Aren't I funny this morning? Euro odd. So Euro odd, very nice extend to the upside. It's scanning out some of these Euro odd long shorts at the moment. Again, Australian dollar really weak. Euro has been really strong along with the pound. It's the perfect storm at the moment today. So that one's very, very nicely extended on both time frames on the hourly. So we got that extension on the hourly, which got embedded, and we had that little squeeze for 3 days. Yesterday, we came out of RSI extension on the hourly, and all we did was go into an accumulation. Now we've broken back to the upside because of the Australian dollar news. So again, these are the things you can't stop. When you get these squeezes, you get good news on the euro, them coming out saying they're going to go up to 0.5% potentially. That's brilliant. So the euro pushes. As the euro finishes that push, the Australian come out with bad news. Bang, gets a double whammy. This is what causes squeezes. When you get a push on a currency because of a fundamental, followed by a push on the same pair because of a fundamental on one or the other coming out again. So if you've got 3 news in a row, for example, on the US dollar, like we quite often have, and you get bullish news for the US, followed by the next day bullish news for the US, followed by the next day bullish news for the US, you've got potential to get 3 to 4 ADR move in one direction all the time, haven't you? And in this case, we've had bullish euro news in the interest rates, and now we've had bearish CPI for Australian dollar, which is bullish euro. So that's why that's pushing. So again, the faster and harder these moves happen, the more extended they get, the more stretched that elastic band gets, the faster that snapback tends to be, climbing up the stairs, falling down the elevator shaft. So when the move finishes, the market will puke their orders very, 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 very quick, because every participant that is long is watching their P&L. And as soon as they see that P&L start to drop, it will encourage them to short it, get out of their long positions. And obviously that starts a selling frenzy, and that's why you get that fast drop, as we saw with the yens yesterday. Yeah, boom! They suddenly collapse at a rate of knots. So you have a big push up, pull back, a big push up, and then you get this massive drop, which then tends to turn into a head and shoulders when they work. Brian's got his magic 8 ball out. Haven't had John Wick in his 8 ball for a while, have we? Here he comes. That's a big 8 ball as well. More like a button. Right. So that's EuroOdd. EuroCAD is the other extension on the hourlies. So again, EuroCAD extended on the hourly. Approaching ADR on that one. Canadian dollar again is weak. So EuroCAD on the 4 hour, we got up to the 90 level. Again, all we got was a flag break this morning. So this euro is absolutely off the charts this morning, and the Canadian dollar, again, very weak. New Zealand's pushing up against it. So again, a little bit of a perfect storm. We've got the euro pushing, we've got the pound pushing, we've got the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar dropping. So EuroCAD is going to be one of the main beneficiaries of that. We're just about to hit ADR on this one. So again, drop down, M5 reversal alert, potentially on the cards on this one. So very, very nice tight reversal alert on this today. Lots of downside targets on this move to the upside. So all that lot to get filled potentially on the way down. If you look at the targets on this, on the hourly, it's 225 ADR, 125 on Euro Swiss. So a long, long way to go down for that one. For the biggest propulsion gap, 225. So again, just waiting for this euro strength and some Canadian strength to come through. The euro strength to wane and then Canadian strength to come through, and we'll get that big reversal. Pound odd. Huge extension to the upside. That's an ADR hit. 4 hour extended above the 80 level. Pound odd on the hourly is above the 75 again. So again, from here where we had that extension on our initial entry, scaled out, second entry has been taken, still pushing. So that one I'd say is probably done. That one's definitely not. That one definitely not. So big targets to the downside on this as well. So some point we're coming back down to there, just a case of waiting. But that's more of a 4 hour extension. So you're about to get an alert on that in the next sort of 20 minutes on the, sorry, that's a pound odd. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, pound odd is already, I thought it was on EuroCAD for some reason. Pound odd already extended on the hourly and the 4 hourly. So good opportunity there. Drop down M5, M15, wait for reversal alerts on those two. M15, 188, 200. M5, pretty much the same. So it doesn't matter which you take on that. It's exactly the same entry. Pound CAD, nicely extended. Again, scaling out of this on this absolute screaming push. So looking for propulsion gap targets to the downside to get filled again. That one's probably done. That one, I would say yes, definitely. So again, big drop potential on this. 175 ADR or, you know, plus, way plus. So again, waiting for a little bit of weakness to come through on that pound and this Canadian dollar to strengthen up. First news we've got on the CAD is potentially tomorrow with GDP and unemployment claims. So those will affect the Canadian dollar. So if we get positive news tomorrow on the US, that's when we'll probably get these pushes tend to start on this Canadian dollar as well. We've got CAD GDP on Friday. So we've got 2 days coming up of US and CAD news. And obviously we've got that big news on the yen with their monetary policy on Friday as well to look forward to. So potential shorts on that one if you're not already in it on the pound CAD. And lastly is US dollar CAD. Nice end pattern reversal going in at the moment on that one. So this US dollar, very weak. It's not even managing to beat this Canadian dollar at the minute. So got shorts on this one already. Break-even average isn't far away, so just waiting for a push back down. So there you go. So that's extended on the 4 hour, not the hourly. It's come out of an hourly extension above the 80 level. But yeah, lots of these pushing very, very, very hard at the moment. So just waiting for some pullbacks, really. Anybody got any other pairs they want to have a look at? DAX has come down to target. a nice ORB today. Very nice. So there's your 5-minute opening range break. Sorry, that's not it. 5-minute opening range break. Doesn't look back. Right, so ADR is target. ADR to ADR 125. So this is last week's low. That is Friday's low, which is ADR. So this zone here basically is what I would be looking to target. Propulsion gap targets to the downside on the DAX. Don't forget, we've still got that gap. So this gap here hasn't filled yet. So this is a big old target to aim for down here. This low is key. If you look at what we've done since we had that little bull run, we went into this accumulation for a week or so, and then we broke up into a new level. Yeah, this is where we've been sitting now for just over a week and a half. So that area there is basically what we're looking to break out to the downside from. So looking to target down here and then this gap. So 250-ish, 275 ADR to the downside from where we are now is if this low breaks and we manage to get a hold below it today, that's where we'll be headed, and then potentially down to do that gap fill. So potential shorts on the DAX coming down very nicely today. You say about Aussie dollar CAD again. Targets. Depends if you're long or short. I'm flat at the moment, so depends which way you're trading it, really. But upside targets wise, intraday, we're looking sort of previous day's low, I would say, and yesterday's low, obviously, somewhere up there. Failing that, we've got these big propulsion targets to the upside, which have been left behind. That one's kind of done, it's half filled. And then we've got targets to the downside. So the way that we're going at the moment, I would say more likely going to push down to ADR. When we get down to ADR, then look for a pullback. So I'll be looking for longs. But right now we're extended. We're just about to get extended. So in the next 10 minutes or so, you may get a signal on Aussie dollar CAD. On the RSI, it is extended below the 30 level already. 25 is where I'm much more interested. So I'll be looking maybe for potential long, but that would be the ideal today. Wait for an ADR hit on that one. What do you think the best inverse for Euro Aussie is? I don't know. Aussie Swiss, I would say. Basically, the euro and the Swiss franc move together. So if you look at Aussie Swiss, if you look at the move that you've got on the euro odd to the upside, and then look at what the Aussie dollar Swiss has done in the inverse, that's the pair. So if you're looking to hedge, if you're looking to hedge, what you would need to do if you want to counter what the euro odd is doing, you'd need to short the Aussie Swiss. I would be very careful shorting down there if that's what you're thinking you're doing, especially after a move of 4 days to the downside. Look at it on daily. Yeah, that's what we got coming. In all likelihood, we obviously could have an accumulation break, but we never know, do we? This is the thing. We never know whether we're going to get an accumulation break or whether we're going to get a the opposite, basically. So that'd be a tricky one. I just want to... I need to redo my... indicators. One sec. Okay. Redone. Right. So, yeah, that's basically it. That's what I would expect. Aussie dollar, US dollar is also another potential good one. But if you look at the move that we've got on the Aussie US, and then you look at the move you've got on the Euro odd, it's 450. So that's what? It's about 4 ADR ish. The Aussie US move, 168. It's about 2 ADR, 2.5 ADR. Whereas when you look at the Aussie dollar Swiss, that is 167, which is 40.80. That's 4 and a bit ADR. So Aussie dollar Swiss is definitely the inverse, I think. Can you share your set file for support resistance indicators? There isn't one. It's default. I said it. Basically, I'm selfish. So I set up the default to me. So what is the default is exactly what I've got set. So I look at 3 weeklies and 2 monthlies in support. Everything else is just default. That is all default. That is default. I don't change anything there. Let's go DAX. ADR. Deserve a break. These ORBs have been a bit dicey lately. So there is your ADR hit on the DAX. That's last week's low and a previous monthly high. Yeah. So this previous month high there. Got another previous month's high there. So we pushed down, pushed up, bounced off, bounced off, bounced off, accumulated, broke, bounced off. Potential support. However, potential support is also down at 125 ADR as well. So we are reacting down here. So if you are short on the DAX, you may want to think about taking profit. Obviously, this thing could collapse at a rate of knots. We'll see. What's the NASDAQ doing then? This is dumping. NASDAQ's coming down again as well, but nowhere near as violently as the DAX is this morning. So why is the DAX dropping so hard? Brenntag and Commerzbank, Deutsche Bank. Looks like we've got some coming down across the board. The entire German stock market is just having a bad day. Very few greens across the board on the DAX. So it's just coming down hard, basically, isn't it? Not quite sure exactly what's causing that, but obviously the strength in the euro is partially to blame. 125 euro Swiss we've just had. Euro odd has just hit its weekly. So there's our first weekly, the week. Euro odd. So I haven't got the daily indicator on there. Okay. So there's Monday. That's your weekly range done on the euro odd. 125 ADR as well. Pretty much just missed it, I think. Literally just missed it. Look. By a pip. Fear for banks again. There's no news. Belarus troops trained on tactical nuclear warheads in Russia. Oh, good. That's promising. Unemployment's going down in Sweden. Consumer confidence is up in France. There's nothing bearish coming out here. So this is obviously thanks for the follow, Nigel. Welcome aboard. Nigel Adamson, welcome aboard. So obviously what you tend to see is when you get a bullish currency, obviously the index drops against that currency. So obviously the euro, the DAX is priced in euros. So we've got euro strength across the board, as you can see by the ADR dash. We've got euros lighting up. Euro CAD is 4 pips away from hitting. Euro yen is doing well. Euro New Zealand is just about to hit. Euro US dollar is 3/4 of the way there. So we've got strength in the euro, which is obviously driving this down, as you can see. So you get some bullish movement there. You get some bearish movement there. Typically, it doesn't always work that way. This is coming off of that monthly high support look on the DAX. God, this indicator is good, isn't it? The support resistance lines indicator. Hint, hint. So that's that previous monthly support. Tap straight into that potential bounce. Failing that, looking to drop down into there. Looking good. Read on CNBC. Right, well, that would explain why we're getting that drop. That's not news. That was funny yesterday. Yeah, I mean, we should be getting a rise in the Nasdaq this afternoon. I would anticipate, but we will see. There's nothing much about banks in here that I can see. First Republic falls. But I can't see anything particularly. I mean, the markets, if you look at that, basically everything is down across the board. Look, FTSE's down, DAX is down, everything's down. So what I was going to say was that would explain, if that is the case, and we are getting another little worrisome run for the banks, what we're going to find is money flying into safe havens, Swiss franc and yen. So that's where the money tends to go. So the Swiss franc and the yen. The pound is running against the Swiss franc at the moment, though. The euro is making lots of headway against the Swiss. CAD's not doing anything. Aussie won't be doing much. US dollar Swiss is the other gauge, which is quite handy. So that's not doing much either. We got a weak US dollar this morning, but so that might explain why we had such a strong yen and Swiss franc yesterday, if there is talk about the banks again. But we'll see. Right, so 5-minute bullish engulfing going in. You've got 30 seconds left on this candle. So this is ADR and monthly and weekly support. So you might want to do some profit take down there on the DAX. Far too many terminals open. Will there be a propulsion indicator for MT5? Yes, it's being worked on. I'm trying to do shorter live rooms. Oh, excuse me. I had a really bad night's sleep last night. I'm trying to do shorter live rooms at the moment, so I can get actually some work done. I'm really missing strategy development. I don't get anywhere near as much time to do strategy development at the moment and indicator development because I'm in here all the time. So I'm trying to keep my live rooms under an hour and a half if possible, so I can actually get some time to do some work. Apart from trading work on strategy development, which is obviously trading work. I've got multiple strategies that I've got really good ideas for, all based around propulsion and ADR, which is what everything is that I do. But I just haven't had the time to do them. So I need to build EAs to backtest the strategies. So I'm going to probably get a coder again, because I had a coder that worked on the market reversal alerts EA for me because I just ran out of time to do stuff. So I might see if he's available again to do some more work on coding for me, just so that I don't have to spend time on it, because that's what really takes the time, is the coding. Not so much the coding, but the debugging of the coding and the fine tuning of the coding and figuring out and testing and all that sort of stuff. It takes a long time to do. Silly little bugs can take 3 or 4 hours to figure out why something is drawing there and it should be drawing there. It can take hours of piling through code, depending how big things are. So it's just a case of, if things go well, it's really quick. If things don't, it takes ages. So, but the MT5 version of the support resistance propulsion indicator will be out hopefully this week. It's kind of half there. There's also other things I want to do, like I want to put the daily this daily indicator that I've built, this one here that does the days of the week. There was one that I was using which it missed out Wednesdays, and it was not great. So I've rebuilt this basically. So I want to get this put up on the market as well, so that's available, but that'll just be a freebie. So, but I just haven't got the time, you know. Just need to get time. Bellino, on top. On top of what? Sleep, what's that? Yeah, no, I don't know about sleep at all. Don't get much sleep. I've got a dog that decides in the middle of the night it wants to go and lick its parts somewhere. So we tend to get woken up multiple times in the night because the dog's just gone off and having a wash, put it politely. So yeah. Okay, DAX just pulled back up into that propulsion and actually didn't even get there, but starting to push back down again. I've just got out of this basically. So ADR, I'm done at support. So, but this could well collapse for the rest of the day. So stay on it if you want to stay on it. This is kind of an equivalent move to what we had there playing out at the moment. And obviously we would expect to get a pullback on it. So watch this propulsion gap. But this, we are also waiting for this low. So this low here, we're waiting for that to go, aren't we? So that we can get the propulsion gap fill in. So this is last week's low, which we've just literally had limit order triggers at. When we break that level, we're off to the gap fill. And the gap fill is down. Oh, I've just deleted that because I reset my template, didn't I? The gap fill is here. Yeah, so that's where we are. If we can break this low, Yeah. That's where I think we're headed to. I'm pretty sure we are headed to there. It's just a case of whether it's going to be one of those and which in earnings fortnight quite often is the case, or whether it's going to be a kind of same way as we went up. Yeah. That's taken what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days. Nearly 3 trading weeks to get to peak. Yeah, could well take 3 trading weeks to get back down to fill that gap. Haha, my dog too. She's old though. Yeah, well, mine's only 6 years old, so I've got another potential decade of this. That's what dogs do. She does know now, though. What she does basically, because she sleeps in our bedroom, she basically starts it, and every now and again we wake up and go shh, and then she'll go off and do it somewhere else. And quite often, what she does now is she actually leaves the room to do it because she knows it's annoying to us. But she's so loud when she does it, you can hear it down the other end of the hall. Anyway, third world problems, eh? Being woken up by a dog licking its bits. Right, DAX is just retesting those lows. So watch for a W pattern here. This could be the reversal point. So that could be peak formation that's just gone in there. And we could be looking for a pullback. See what happens. Right, I'm going to leave it there so I can get on with stuff. Look at that, 1 hour 14. We got through everything, 1 hour 14. So just watch everything that you're in at the moment. Taking some big drawdown control today on these squeezes. Obviously, this account is running every pair, so it's going to get into a lot more drawdown than a normal account would. So that CAD Swiss aggressive position, let me just quickly check the aggressive positions that I've put on so far. So the aggressive positions that I've got on at the moment are Euro CAD. That one is a manual, which I don't appear to have put a stop loss on. That's a faux pas. Okay, I'm going to need to put a stop on that. That's 750, 800. Do that. 0.8. So 0.8% stop at 125 on that. The pound Swiss. So that one's working out nicely. So that is an aggressive drawdown control position taken here yesterday on that one. Euro CAD ADR, that's still pushing Euro CAD. So pound Swiss, that's working out nicely. So that is now back into profit. Just coming up to hit TP on that. We've just ADR. We're just about to ADR, or we have ADR'd. We're just about to hit ADR on the pound Swiss. So TP on that is there. And the CAD Swiss was the other aggressive one, which is from here. That's just starting to play out now. Target up at 125. 125 on Euro odd. These Australian dollar pairs are not... sorry, these Euro pairs are just not giving up, are they? Look at this Euro today. On an absolute mission. Apart from against the pound, because the pound is really, really strong as well. So the Euro and the pound both rallying hard together. The yen as well is strong today, look. Keeping the Euro at bay. And we got a weak US dollar as well. So potentially lots of good reversal opportunities on these Euro pairs. So watch for these. These could well go further. This is really being driven hard, this Euro at the moment. Oh, oil we haven't covered today, have we? Sorry. Right, so oil. We were looking for the gap fill. We didn't get there yesterday. All we managed to do yesterday was triple bottom on last week's low. So this is the gap fill here, which is the bottom of this propulsion gap. So today, I reckon it's a really good short down to ADR. As soon as we get down to ADR today, I will be looking to long it on one of the props. Basically because that's the move that we were anticipating as soon as we got that gap fill in. So I'm looking to get into long opportunities on this. So if we look at the actual move that I was expecting, Euro New Zealand, ADR. So the actual move that I was expecting was that high, low, high. I was expecting a pullback to be able to get into a long, and it pushed further. So as we got into this propulsion gap here, I said as soon as we get that pullback into here, which was that high, that's where I would be looking to long it from. We gapped up on the weekend. So that was on the OPEC news. So when we get down now into this area, that would be a good initial position. And it's either going to, one of two things is going to play out. We're going to get the gap fill done, and then we're going to rally and make a new high. Or we're going to get the gap fill done, and it's going to come down and retest this area here. So that is about 250, 275 ADR. And then start a new leg from there. Because what that will be is that movement. Yeah. So those are the two things that are going to play out. It's either going to play out on a short term like that. Long term like that, or the short term move will just play out there. So initial position, second entry, run for the highs as a swing trade. So that looks really, really good. .div on Euro New Zealand 1 hour. Don't know what that means, Brian. .div. Is that an autocorrect? Did you mean ADR? 150 ADR Euro Swiss. Divergence. Yeah, divergence is in play. Although you can't use that high, because if you want to join that to that, you've broken divergence there. So you want that high there, which is ever so slight, but it is ever so slight bullish, bearish divergence, but it's not particularly strong. But it is there, yeah. So that's looking good. What was that? Euro Swiss, wasn't it? Was the 150? There we go, 150. Swiss franc weakening dramatically. That's a big, big, big move against the Swiss franc. How weak the Aussie is. Pound Swiss, I'd imagine, is getting trampled as well, yeah. Maybe I'll move that TP. No, I'm going to leave it. It's propulsion. That's what I'm targeting. Don't move your targets. Leave your targets where they are. So yeah, Euro Swiss 150. So good opportunity for a mean reversion on this one. Pullback at some point. So basically somewhere back into there, or at least back into there at some point. So your reverse alert's quite far on that, so it's not going to be particularly easy to get into. Sorry, that's Pound Swiss. Euro Swiss we wanted. Yes, I mean, obviously, loads of targets to the downside. Your reverse alert's going to be there. So a tricky one to get into. We will see. Right, I'll leave it there today. Anything else you need, let me know. I'll be in the live room. Be in the live room? I'm in the live room now. I'll be in the Telegram group. I'm going to get working on the indicators today and other bits and pieces I've got to do. So if there's anything you need, I'll be around, but I'll be back this afternoon at 2:20 for the New York session. DAX has just made new lows, so potentially we've got an uneven W reversal going on there out that propulsion gap. So that's looking good for a potential reversal from there, or at least a pullback. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time for the London session. Be back this afternoon, 2:20 for New York. So hopefully we get some of these moves starting to unravel on these little squeezes. But obviously just keep an eye on the positions, keep an eye on the portfolio, and any aggressives you've got on, hopefully should be playing out, which is good. All right, so have a good one. Anything you need, I'll be in the Telegram group. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you guys this afternoon.